inconsistent,
Wow.
Boom. Put me the one that makes my lips look pink. That's the one I want. It put makeup on me. You saw that shit? Yo, that's crazy, nigga. Very demure, very classy. You're gonna eat while we record a podcast?
I'm going to drink.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the stuff I gotta deal with on a daily basis.
An invisible drink.
An invisible drink is called La Cox.
La Cox. That's what I think of when I see it.
Very demure, very classy. All right. Well, what's going on here? What are we doing with our lives? What is the world coming to? Okay.
Capitalism is going to destroy us.
I don't think so.
It is.
Capitalism helps.
Capitalism destroys. It's just a different format. That's all.
I don't think that's true. I think capitalism helps the world. Why do you say it destroys? And I'll tell you why it doesn't. Unless you want me to go first.
You go first.
Capitalism works like this. I need this maid. Okay? This candle, this gay candle. I don't know why he has it here. He never has a candle on here. I don't know what he was doing last night in his room. So when I want to get this made, I got to get the wax. So I got to pay somebody to get the wax. I got to support another business to give me this wax, which in turn supports other employees, right? If they don't pay their employees properly, the employees will leave and that business will go out of business. They have to pay them enough to keep them. You know what I'm saying? So there's a balance where it's like, I don't want to pay them too much because then I'll go out of business and then he don't have a job either. And I don't want to pay him too little because then he'll leave and get another job. So we have to find a balance in the middle somewhere. When you do something called profit seeking, basically what they do is, all right, we're going to get the maximum amount of profit no matter what, at all costs. Those are the businesses that basically drain society in a bad way. That is not called capitalism. That's called profit seeking. It's different. It's a form of capitalism, but it's almost like saying the left and the far left, they're just different.
Profit seeking is in all forms of types of government, or not government, but like how society runs.
Exactly.
In a monarchy, in a hierarchy,
yeah, but capitalism is balanced. You have to have balance in capitalism.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to force yourself out of business by going too far one way or too far the other way. So you have to find a middle ground. When governments get involved, they're like, all right, now you have to have a minimum wage. Now you all of a sudden you put a weight on one side of the balance, and now capitalism got to figure out a way to balance it back out.
Yeah, but with our system of government and capitalism, we're doomed to fail.
Why do you say that?
Because of what was the other phrase you used?
Profit seeking.
Profit seeking.
Yeah. But that's like saying, that profit seeking could go into any place, anywhere, like any sort of system you can add profit seeking to. So an example would be
so when you add capitalism, which is a form of how we society fuck with each other,
yeah,
and then you add a government type.
You can have a government, but the government, you have to have taxes to support a society. There's no doubt about it. But when you start saying, all right, now we're going to tax you. All right, look at our society, how it is right now. The business has to pay a tax just to be in business. Then they pay us and we get taxed, right? Then we take our money and we buy food and you take a tax from that. Then we got to pay our mortgage and they take a tax for that, property tax, right? Everything is taxed. Instead of taxing us one time, that $1 gets taxed so many times. You wind up only keeping like 50% of that dollar because it gets taxed in so many different areas of your life. Even when you save it in the bank and take it out, you know what I'm saying? Or you get a loan, all of it gets taxed. So that's the government getting involved and forcing their weight on. There's no balance in that. You're forcing the dollar to lower its value. So capitalism is now being forced one way and has to try to readjust.
But there's no real balance in capitalism either.
No, of course there is. That capitalism is the balance. Once you go out of that balance, you're no longer in capitalism. You're now doing something else. Because for a business to function in a capitalist society, it has to be a balance. It has to price good to support, so it can get money. It has to pay its workers. It has to have, not only that, even within the workers, forget about money. It has to treat its workers in a certain way to retain them.
Should it be the government that regulates, monitor, sets the standards for maximum profit?
No,
companies.
Businesses.
Capitalism.
Businesses are all going to try to get as much money as they can. That's the point of having a business. You got to try to maximize it
at all cost.
That is called profit seeking at all cost.
That's what I'm saying.
Capitalism is not at all cost.
Should the government put a pop-out? Like recently...
I hear what you're saying. So if you find a business that's doing it at all costs, no, because that's their own business.
Let's look at Google. They were monopolizing you looked it up, right? The search engine.
Yeah.
Right? They were saying this is the only search engine. There's not going to be any other results for search engines. We're the search engine.
Yeah.
Right? Why you download Microsoft Edge to download Chrome?
Yeah.
Okay. So and then it's the only platform.
Yeah, but that's rough because Google literally broke themselves up.
But you keep saying that, but it's still doing business under. You only get one tax ID. Like when you fill out a business form, it says doing business under
Alphabet.
Under Alphabet, but it's still just one company. It's still one.
No, it's not. They broke themselves up years ago.
But it's an umbrella. It's still under Google.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like saying I have businesses.
Yeah,
and each one of them is his own business entity. I just own them. I'm the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm the enterprise. That's it. I own businesses, but they all function along, and then within each other they do business. That's just the way businesses run.
Yeah,
that's the best way.
They got the boo-boos because they found guilty of monopolizing, right? So
what is it for the search engine?
For search engine.
No, that's crazy.
For competing.
I was literally just watching a video where somebody said that because speaking of Google, if iPhone decided to put their own search engine, because right now the default's Google for search engine.
Yeah.
So if they said if Apple was to add their own search engine, it would drop Google's search results like 25% or something like that, because most people look up stuff on their phone in America. And they said that so Apple has this thing, I think it's called Spotlight, where you kind of swipe down and you don't have to go to Google. You could just type in your question right there in the phone, and if it's a simple answer, like you say how old is Barack Obama, something like that, it'll pop up. You know what I'm saying? And they said when Apple added that, it dropped Google's traffic 5%. So there's but for Apple to have its own search engine, it's like $20 billion, something crazy like that. So they're like, why are we going to invest money to do that if they will pay us just to have their search engine default? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Google technically pays Apple to say, hey, yo, use this search engine, make it default. Yeah. I mean, it's business.
I wonder what the fine or what the repercussion of their guilty verdict of monopoly is going to be.
I got to be honest, I hope nothing. I'm okay. Google's not an evil company. Are they evil? What do you think? What are they doing?
They're the worst.
Why?
Because to me, when I think about Google, I think about this one bar that says, I don't care who, what, where you are, I'm going to give it to you what I find.
Yeah.
That's what I thought Google was. But it's not. It's just another company that's looking to seek profit and maximize profit at all costs.
Yeah, but how does that... okay, just explain to how they're evil about that, even if that's the case.
Well, because it's not... It's optimized to a particular narrative, a particular view, right? Google owns YouTube, for example. We get monetized as shit. We got monetized for a few different things.
Yeah.
Whereas X, if Google was run by Elon, I'd be like, let's go. Because I feel like
you trust Elon's
I trust
decision making.
It's going to be more open. You know what I mean? You're not going to get the shenanigans that Google filters you.
So it's
not coincidence that when you Google a certain phrase, the exact opposite comes up. You know, we've seen this. It's not new.
Well, but the profit thing is like Elon owns the company. Let's say X. We know he owns the company, so he makes the final decisions, right? Google's run by a board, probably. Right, so now they all have to agree on profits. Like saying, okay, we all got to do whatever we can to, for you to say, hey, we're going to sacrifice some profit to provide this. Other members of the board that, have to, provide for the shareholders are like, no, we can't do that. We have to give to our shareholders. We have to have our shareholders have profit. Otherwise, they're not going to invest in us. They're not going to buy our stocks.
Yeah, I get it.
So Elon said a million times, I don't care.
Right, but I get that part. But my thing is that, I think I agree with the verdict that they're guilty. To me, they're guilty.
Probably, for being a monopoly. But my thing is with that is like, I'd rather, and I love iPhone. I'd rather have a Google device with all its things. You know what I'm saying? With all the things that they offer. You know what I'm saying? Versus anything else. I'd rather this be an Android because it's so easily integrated. You know what I mean? It's automatic.
What you're saying so you're comparing Google to Android in the sense that it's...
Well, I mean, Google and Android are basically sister companies. They intertwine with each other, basically. But what I'm saying is the reason why I'd rather Google be the main, because they offer so much. Think about everything we use. Between, what is it, Word or whatever? What do they call that? Docs? I don't even know what they call it. So many different...
Sheets.
The Sheets. All the integration that they have is like, I'd rather have that than use freaking DuckDuckGo that gives me nothing but a search engine. You know what I'm saying? Now, they don't prevent me from downloading DuckDuckGo. If they did, then I'd be like, okay, now we have a problem. But because they still allow me to use DuckDuckGo if I wanted to, I'm okay with Google, They're giving me a chance to go outside of their... they're thinking like, if you want to, you can use it.
You could use it.
But if you want to use ours,
would you use a different platform other than Google to search for like privacy?
I have. I've done it. Yeah, I've done it before.
Yeah, but you always.
But out of curiosity, my default is Google.
Yeah.
But I have DuckDuckGo that I'm like, out of curiosity, let me see what it says. Like with the thing when people Googling Trump assassination, like weird things like JFK will pop up, and they're like, what the hell? I didn't Google that.
Yeah.
And then you check DuckDuckGo, and the only thing with DuckDuckGo is that it gives you such obscure searches. Like somebody's blog will be number one, and you're like, what the heck?
Because they use a billion words.
Yeah, because they use the way they do their thing is different. Again, I'm okay if Google allows it. I'm okay with it. I just want the option. If you lock me in, then I don't like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know. I just I'm trying to look at what society is gonna look like for my son, and I'm like, there's some really fucked up hard times coming for no reason either.
Yeah. Well, it's the decision makers that are like, bro. And this is kind of what we had the conversation with Mike the other day, when it's like, you have an ideology and you want to put everything consistent with your ideology. So if you're a Democrat, everything has to be Democrat leaning. Every policy has to be Democrat leaning. You can never deviate, because then the entire party would be like, hey, look, he's siding with a Republican in this issue. You have to be, and that's what I was talking about with the board of the prophets. If one person deviates, they're like, we got to vote him off the board. He's going against the prophets.
Cell phones, smartphones, this search engine, this smart feature, this touching thing, this box that we carry around and worship all day.
This piece of glass.
We've been rocking it for 16 years now.
Yeah. And I like it. It's at the point now where
let me put it to you in this context. When it came out in 2008, right? In 2008, when smartphones came out, an 18-year-old is now 32.
It's such a fun little thing.
An 18-year-old is now 32.
Yeah.
And a 32-year-old in 2008 is now 46.
I remember seeing this for the first time.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you remember? I was with you when we saw it. We went to the pizzeria on by Church Ave.
It was a commercial,
and it was a commercial for like the news or something. We both looked up like, what? Apple?
How do you search for this?
As a phone? And I had one of those freaking flip phones or whatever at the time, and I was like, that's so cool, so you could touch it.
I remember getting the H1. I didn't want to go Apple, so I got the sliding H1.
That was the first Android. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the bottom was kind of curved forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
The keyboard was under the phone.
I like that. The keyboard under it. I thought that was great.
That was fun.
But then when you get used to touching the screen, you kind of like, I don't want the keyboard. It'd be nice if you could just have the option, like click and just.
They were gonna add the screen that bubbles up to you get the tactile feedback, and then it goes
pops up
back
automatic.
down. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
I
feel like if you had a phone like this and you can slide it and then have buttons on the bottom, you'd be able to play so many more games. But like little Joy-Cons on the bottom, like as you're playing, and just slide it back on and
the only reason I could see that being a thing is for braille purposes, for blind niggas.
Oh yeah, and they're gonna blind niggas are gonna be like, I mean, type in and see what. What are we gonna see?
Why do they have to make that face? Why do they look like they're taking a shit?
They don't know what face they're making. They can't see, so they just do it. You ever talk to a blind person? Sometimes they don't know.
Wow. All right. So I think that bugged me out. So an 18-year-old, is now 32, fucking around with an iPhone or a smartphone.
Yeah.
And a 32-year-old fucking around with everything in between. That generation is.
Yeah. All of our kids grew up with smartphones.
Right.
They never seen a world without it.
Yeah. So to me, it's like. This flood of information, this flood of like, because I stream, I connect with people online, and I'm like, I never felt so distant and so close to someone at the same time.
Yeah, because you could just push the button and all of a sudden you're by yourself now.
I'm in a room, they see me like, yo, basement. Now they call me GED. They're like, yo, basement, what up, basement? Yo. And it's like this sense of community, this sense of belonging, this sense of, but I feel as lonely or as separated from society more than ever before. So then I'm like, what is life like in the next 16 years for my son?
So if Google takes over, no problem. If Facebook takes over, it's going to be a lonely world because they're really pushing for the freaking VR headsets, and they're the ones that's going to push towards stay at home and just meet up with your friends just like you're doing. Just do that. You don't have to go outside.
It's funny you said it because I called my son yesterday. Hey, what's up? What you doing? He was like, oh, I'm in VR right now. I'm like, all right, so hit me up when you're done. Yeah, that's what does the world look like for your kid? Think about your littlest kid. Yeah. What is this world like?
Hopefully peaceful. All the stuff I see going on the news, I'm like, I hope there's no war.
Besides all that shit,
yeah.
Just with the cell phone, it's like. I don't know what the remedy.
I think that's why we kind of give them screen time. Like, okay, you got some time on the phone or the TV, whatever. But then, I mean, you have a time set for that, and after that, you cannot play with nothing. You just play with toys or something, And we also bring them out with other people that have kids, so they can hang out. Like we just went to Six Flags with somebody that has kids. So just so they can have that time, so they always have interactions.
Yeah.
That's why I think church is so good, because you can have look at you see in our church, it's like half kids. That's what most of the people that come, they say the same thing. Like, I like coming here because there's a lot of kids here, and I can just let my kid just go into the mix.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm being.
Yeah, like if my kid's making noise during the service, I'm not worried that somebody's gonna be like, "Hey."
3 other kids just did.
Yeah. Half the kids are running in front of the pastor as he's preaching.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking about the world and with like what happens to us. Does the phone get boring? Does the phone become a thing where people naturally start putting down and start seeking each other?
No. People do it now. They try doing it now. And they always go back to the phone. I think what happens is that you add more and more features to the phone and it changes things. Like, this is like, we're here. Like, every time a new phone comes out, I'm like, it's the same thing as the last phone. Like, there's nothing but you change a little bit faster. It's all the same.
Yeah, and a little bit faster only lasts for a little bit.
Yeah. And then I hate, like, okay, right now I got a case on my phone. When I get the upgrade, you're going to change the entire look of the device. And I got to get a whole new system of a new case. Make it it's the same phone. It's just a little bit faster. Just give me the same case.
I want to recycle.
I just want to take this, give me the new one, I plug it in, now we're back, I hate when they change the freaking camera thing. I'm like, what happened to I thought the last one was good. What happened?
Does it seem longer or shorter, the whole 16 years of smartphones?
Oh, man.
16 years, bro.
Yeah.
It's since sweet 16.
Oh, that's nice. Good drive.
iPhones are not even old enough to vote.
Yeah. They're old enough to drive.
They're old enough to drive officially, but not old enough to. And they can barely drive. They can fucking barely
They're gonna
drive.
hit something guaranteed. They're gonna get a few tickets.
Yeah, you see the cop that pulled over the
Tesla, whatever,
or whatever.
With no
It was
driver?
like, yeah, with no
and
driver.
the passenger's like, I don't know what to do.
The operator's like, huh? He's like, your vehicle just so crazy shit. Yeah, I don't know. I
That'll get better eventually.
eventually, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know if there's a fix, or maybe the fix is that just like the people who don't know how to socially adapt. Maybe the ones that win are the ones that know how to balance, like you said. You know
what I think too?
out.
Like people that, like you were saying, with socially adapt. People that didn't know how to socially adapt back in the day, either they figured it out, or they just stood. We never heard about them because they just stood home alone. They were hermits. They became what are they called? Hoarders. Like they're on the fringes of society. But now they have streaming services. Like now they're out and about. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it helps them. I don't know.
I don't know. Then what did you send me?
A bunch
Let's
of
get
stuff.
into it.
But yeah. I mean, I think again with the phones, it's like unless they add some new features, like don't change the freaking phone, please. Just give me the upgrades and that's it. Like look at your case. Your case is nice. The next phone, if they change the camera position, you gotta get a new case.
Yeah, and they're gonna change the camera.
And it's like, bro, just leave it exactly how it is, because you know you're not doing anything special. So stop. All right.
You don't need to redesign the whole format.
No, just be like, all right, it's a little bit. Don't even tell me. Just say, hey, this is a little bit faster. Okay, here you go.
Don't even mention it. We know that it's just a little chip that you're upgrading.
Yeah, we all know it.
Only
So
size
stop
that's changing.
changing
You idiots.
Now, what I really want is the flip. The ones I open. I forgot what they call it. The flip. I guess they call flip phones. That's really all I want. That's all I care for.
And supposedly Apple's coming back with
That's rumors. 2025. They're gonna make a
flip version.
They're gonna say it's a compact iPad or whatever. It's an iPhone compact iPad, whatever. That you open it up and now it's an iPad. You know, whatever. So you want to start with this one? We can start with this one.
I mean, that's literally what I sent from the text messages that you sent when you should have just
I sent a bunch of stuff there, but
via text.
yeah, all that.
But it doesn't come up as links.
No, none of it's links. We're just talking points.
Okay, got it.
All right, Jesus. We can start here though.
So what is this?
This is a rapper. Oh God, it's almost embarrassing to look at. She has like zero talent. You see a lot of this lately, and this is like, when I was younger, the rapper would have to be good to make it. You know what I'm saying? They have to have skills. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, and I think it's Drake's fault, because he's the one that started this whole thing where it's like, pay somebody to write songs for you, pay somebody to do your beat, and all you got to do is rap. You know, he made that very popular. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what he does. He doesn't really write a lot. Somebody writes for him. They make the beat for him. He raps over it, and that's it. And then they do the rest. It's like a factory. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
He's a sweatshop of rap.
Of rap apparel.
Yeah. So she...
And merch.
Her and there's another artist, I can't forget her name. Ice
Sexy
Spice.
Red unveils new lip gloss lining featuring Booty Hole Brown and more.
It's because it's one of her songs or something like that. But this is the level that we are. And this is why kamalaharris brought the rapper on stage to do a rap and a dance on that, because she knows this is what the generation are like. Oh, I like this stuff. But our generation definitely had its ratchetness, its bad, stupid thing. But like, this is out of control. And if you look at, I don't know, can you zoom into this? Oh God, you liked it.
Oh, you just liked it?
Can you zoom into this?
Now they're gonna know I need the bootylicious. Let's see if I can. It's about as
All
big
right,
as
I'll just read it. I'm not gonna read these little things, but these are the different colors. This one's called Coochie Juice. Booty Hole Brown. This one's called Nut.
Oh, I'm ordering this shit right.
This one's called
now.
Pussy Hole Pink. Yellow Discharge. gonorrhea, blue balls, and sex on my period. That's the name of her lip gloss. Those are the colors. These are the colors all over here. You see them? They all have those names. Hey, there we go.
Oh shit! Directly.
And this is what she's selling kids nowadays. I don't want to hear her.
I don't want to even see her.
But that's, this is the stuff that.
So when you have someone like this, who the kids are,
You have a keyboard.
who the kids
I want
are,
to change the camera angle.
who the God, no, thank God, who the kids are looking up to, right? She has followers,
Thousands.
and then this person shows up to Kamala Harris. Instinctively, I'm gonna associate Kamala Harris with the person that I like.
Yeah. So that's, and this is, I don't know if you remember this. We said this a few weeks ago. That it's hard to live in a world with dumb people. Like talking to them, it's almost depressing. I think about it now, I'm like, oh God. Like you talk to them and you can watch them come to decisions.
And they're so emotionally.
And you're like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Why are you thinking like that? Why are you thinking like that? And there's almost like you're thinking through them. Like it's almost like they're so thin the way they think. And you're like, this is so hard to watch. You come to conclusions, and then on top of that, you watch two of the stupid people talk to each other, and you're like, this is rough to listen to. And you try to be nice. Sometimes you just let them talk. You know, oh yeah, okay. And you try to be nice, and it's depressing, bro. And I talk to a lot of people. Thankfully, it must be the test that we take, but thankfully most of the guys at my job are not like that. We do have occasionally a few of them, but it's like sometimes I talk to people in the street about stuff. Like if I bring up politics, if they bring it up and I'm like, oh, that's not true because XYZ, and then you watch them kind of rationalize their position. So like an example is like, okay, we just saw right here with this booty hole Brown,
right?
And you say, hey, look, society's in a downfall, especially within this community, and this is the kind of heroes that we have. Okay, and it's not just her. It's just a small example. We have hundreds of people they're just bad examples for society. And kids follow that and they do stuff in the streets that mimic them. So if you listen to a hip hop artist or rap artist, the stuff that they say, they want to mimic it. So they're doing, and then on top of that, you have this TikTok, YouTube culture that does these weird pranks and they do stupid things. So now when the police get involved and they have to arrest somebody, and the kid resists because that's what he saw online, and he gets beat up or he gets shot or something like that, then all of a sudden now we're crying because of the police. And you tell them this, hey, look, if the kids if parents step in and they kind of try to remove this or talk to their kids about what's going on with these different influences and get them out of it, maybe society would little by little elevate. And what they say about the police, well, the police started because of racism. And you're like, I can't even talk to you. You're not listening to logic at all.
Yeah.
I talked right through you. You're like, just this thin, this is your thought process. It's real thin. That's all you can think about. You know what I mean? And there's like, well, the police started because, they were trying to hunt down slaves and all that. I'm like, okay, that's true. Okay. But let's talk about right now. What's happening right now?
Yeah.
Because the police hunting down slaves in the, 17, 16, 1800s.
Does nothing.
There's nothing about this.
What are the issues right now?
Yeah. And this is... And historically, we've seen this happen before with the drug epidemic in the 70s, and we kind of turned it away from the drugs, like crack is whack and all that, right? We arrested the people that were bad, the drug dealers. We got the addicts, we got them their whatever medication they needed to help them, and we seen the transition out of this, in the 70s of the heroin. I mean, we still have a few. But society has changed dramatically from there, right? From the crack epidemic, when we were kids. So we can do it. We have the ability to do it. But back in those days, people were raw about it. Oh, wait, if you're a drug dealer, then you go to jail. If nowadays, if we arrest a drug dealer, somebody's going to record it and they're going to post it online and they're going to be mad. Oh, that drug dealer, that's actually my cousin. So I don't like the police anymore now. Because they arrested my cousin. And then people watch the video and like, wow, they were really rough with that guy. Even though the guy's fighting back and trying to, whatever, do things. That all they see is the police was rough with that guy. And we've seen this countless times with with I'm trying to think. I think it's Anton Sterling. That was one example where they were arresting the guy. I don't know if you remember this video.
I feel like I remember the name.
Where they're arresting the guy. They got him face down on the floor. So they got a phone call. Police didn't randomly show up. They got a phone call. Hey, there's a guy threatening people with a gun. So the cops show up. They go to arrest the guy, and as they're arresting him, face down on the floor, he's reaching in his pants to pull something out. And one of the cops grabs his hand, and because he has sweatpants, they can feel the gun through the sweatpants. So the cop shoots him in his back while he's on the floor.
Oh, that was like on the train?
No, that was in front of a bodega, something like that. So now, and then right after they shoot him, the cop reaches in his pocket and pulls the gun and throws it. Like, pulls it out of his pocket. Like, yo, that's why I shot him, because he has a gun in his pocket. But we didn't hear any of that. What we heard is the police shot a black man. And it became a protest and all this thing. And during the whole Black Lives Matter thing, that was one of the names they called out. And it's like, bro, why are we doing? We're just very thin thinking.
Yeah.
Nothing, no weight involved in their thought. It's just nothing. They're like parrots. They heard somebody say that, I'm going to say it now.
This is why I'm glad we started.
I don't have a keyboard, so I can't even.
This is why I'm very glad that I'm glad that we started with the whole cell phone and the age of the cell phone, the revolution of the cell phone, only because I think we're touching on that same point. Like, where are we now, and what does it look like 16 years from now? And we're talking about like influences and whatnot. A lot of these dumb people are getting exposed to a lot of shit.
We are getting a new look at the.
Sorry about that.
Jesus Christ. And some of the information that they're getting is correct.
Yeah, but that's the double-edged sword of what we have. You know what I'm saying? It's a tool that gives us all the information we need to get the correct answer. But there's also misinformation.
So should we be banning? They're trying to ban cell phones in schools.
Oof, that's rough, because parents are going to be like, well, I'm not home when my kid gets out of school and I need to contact him to make sure that he's getting home safely. So maybe instead of banning it from the school, they'll collect it. Maybe there should be some kind of system where you drop your cell phone into this a slot, and then that's yours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They there has to be some sort of. I'd rather a kid not
Here's
have a
my
phone in
thing.
class.
What's the point of banning it while they're in school if you're not banning it in home as a parent? Like, what's the goal?
Yeah. Well, I think the goal is. I want to make sure I freaking. Okay. I think the goal is distraction within the class. Because think about it. When we needed to talk to somebody in class, what do? We write a freaking note. We pass it. Remember those days?
Yo, like, you used to do that?
Yeah, nigga. That's how you talk to girls, son.
That's how you talk to girls. Did you ever get caught and the teacher shout your note out?
No. Thankfully, no.
Yeah, word. Thank God. Thank God you never got caught.
Bro. Que bochorno, nigga.
I know, but even sending that note was like, oh, now this nigga got it. And, it's like,
but also, too, I mean, at least in high school. Remember in high school,
it's not like a tweet. You can't delete it. They got that shit. They're spreading it around.
Yeah, remember in high school, you could kind of sit wherever you wanted. You know what I'm saying? So in high school, we just, you just order. As soon as you see the girl, immediately you sit next to her or behind her or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Preferably be behind her. You don't want to sit in front of her. That becomes a very difficult way to talk to her. If she's in front of you, if she's in front of you, you kind of lean forward and, make her
like
laugh.
Whisper in her ear, make her laugh. Where she's thinking about you.
Yeah. I'm always over your shoulder like a freaking...
like a fucking psychopath. So the goal for the school is for them not to be distracted. It's not the goal to prevent them from being exposed to all this information, all this crap.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, honestly. I want my kid to have his phone, but I don't want them to be distracted in class, because they're gonna, if you let them have it in class, they're gonna do one of these under the table. You know what I'm saying? They're always gonna try to figure. I mean, come on, they're like us. We would try to get away with it. Well, I gotta text somebody. Oh, I'm gonna text somebody. I'm on the low. or if I'm, Google the answer or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
We had, we're talking about influences, monopoly, information. This is old.
Oh yeah. I'm just trying to find the raw video so we can see it, but damn. Because it's so old, you can't. There's so many news coverages. Don't do it. Look, this guy right here, he's the one fighting with trying to get the gun out of his hand. Anyway, I remember watching a video of a gun expert, because they're like, oh, well, he had the gun in his pocket. Why did they shoot him? And then he put the gun in his pocket, a pair of sweatpants, and he's like, I'm not even gonna put my hand in my pocket. And then he grabbed the outside of the sweatpants and then pulled the trigger. Clack, clack, clack. He's like, they have no choice. You know what I'm saying? If you have a gun and you're reaching for it, you're gonna get shot. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And why are you reaching for the gun?
I mean, what is your logic? You think you're gonna shoot the cops and run away and just get away with it?
But the thing is, to that person that you were talking about, that they're really thin-minded and shallow, they don't,
No, it's society. It's
right.
so much of society.
It's so much of society.
Like, if you're listening to this, you know somebody.
You're probably that somebody.
You're part of the guy. If you're like, nah, he's wrong.
He's
you're
wrong.
The guy.
He was black.
Yeah, that's you.
That's you. It's like, make it make sense. Like, why would we? If I had a gun and I was that nigga, I would have been screaming, I have a gun in my pocket.
I would immediately be like,
I don't want to die.
Yeah. If it's legal.
If it's
problem is, even if
it's illegal, they're gonna find it.
Yeah. I mean,
so at least I'm diffusing the situation by saying, you got me.
Yeah, but the problem starts so much before the police interaction. Why do you have an illegal gun on you? Why? Oh, because I'm selling drugs or whatever. Da-da-da. Why are you selling drugs? Like, it goes way back.
Right, but let's get to the point. And then it's like,
where's your father?
Let's get to the point where you make contact. It's like your rational. What did you think was going to happen? You were going to shoot them and walk away?
Yeah. Oh, got away with that one. It's GTA. Oof. But, if I hide for 10 minutes, then my stars go away.
Nobody saw that.
Yeah.
There's not blood everywhere. There's not cameras.
Again, it's just like it's a video game. Like, nobody saw me, so I could just walk home and just live my life like normal. They'll disappear. Those cops are just gonna disappear. Nobody's gonna know. Like, what are you thinking? There's no thought process.
I wonder. It's an age thing. It's a maturity thing. It's a mental thing. You know what I mean? What is it? Because
I think it's a mix. Because I think some people. Bro, I've met people that don't know things that I'm shocked that they don't know it at that age in life.
Right, 32.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, you don't know this? Like, it's gonna sound so random, but I was watching a video where they were like, all right, what continent is America in? And it's like, listen, if you went to school, you know this. There's 7 continents. We're in North America. I don't know if you know it, so I'm just gonna say it. Thanks. But it's like, we're in North America. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we're in North America. We know there's North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Antarctica, whatever.
Australia gets its own.
Right? But people don't know this. And it's like, you should have learned this in school. Stop. What were you doing in school? Because if you don't know this, which is like a basic for geography or whatever, then you don't know more deeper parts of geography. And if this is the basic, maybe you don't know if it's North America, but there's at least a few continents, right? There's like a level where you have to have a certain understanding, where if you don't have it, then you can't build on it.
Yeah, okay,
and you missed it.
When we were our generation, we were one of the last generations where it was 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah,
and that's the answer, multiple choice, whatever the fuck it was. That was the format. Yeah. But the generation right after us, so the niggas that are in their 30s, heading into their 30s, or even heading into their 40s, not so much, but those that 10 years before, after us, their schooling was 1 + 1 = how do you feel the answer is?
How do you feel? You think it's 2?
And those are the niggas that are in their 30s now.
Well, somebody says 2, then they're racist.
Bro, they're in their 30s.
Yeah.
So those people
are voting. They're the ones buying the lip gloss.
They're the ones buying the lip gloss. They're the ones that are voting.
Yeah.
In 10 years from now, in 20 years from now, they're the ones that are going to be running.
Yeah. And this is I watched this Kamalaharris speech. I don't know if you watched it. I didn't watch the whole thing. I only watched clips of it. But there was one thing she mentioned, and I wrote it here, but we're probably not going to go over it. Where she says this, she's like, if you're a first-time home buyer, the United States of America is going to give you $25,000 to buy a house, right? And at first thought, you're like, wow, that's great. I got to get in on that. And this kind of reminds me of like, if the government's giving out money, would you take it? Yeah. Even though I'm against it, you think I'm going to pass up free money? That's crazy.
If it's coming to all of us, I want my cut.
You might as well get it. You know, if they're giving them out anyway, you know? So obviously if she does this, I'm going to do it. But this happened. This is like in history. They were giving out loans to people that couldn't afford it. They were buying houses. They were defaulting on their. You remember the 2008 crisis? They're about to do it again.
That's what led to
They're like, yo, you can't afford a house. We're gonna give you $25,000 to get a house. You know what's gonna happen? Those people are gonna default. They're gonna be like, I can't afford the mortgage now, and they're gonna default. It's gonna be a housing crisis in 8 years from now, because it takes a while for this thing, for this thing to happen. It takes a while, or 4 years from now, and she's not even gonna be in office. There's gonna be another president. And we're gonna blame that guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's like, I want the 20. You think I don't want the $25,000? I want it.
You said a lot of things. Apparently, you would.
Well, that's her economic policy that she laid out on her speech. Because
in the speech that you heard.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear the whole thing, but there's a. We can go over it. The first two, the Trump Elon, and then we could talk about that another time if you want, but we could go into this if you want. Banning price gouging. What does that even mean? What does that mean?
Banning price gouging.
Right? Like, what you're saying is this.
Some people say that the price gouging in food groceries, it is of the opinion of some individuals that it's only like 4 or 5 major food producing companies, so they know there's no competition, so they price gouge because you don't have another choice.
But then why don't you break them up like you're trying to do with Google then, if we know that they're 4 or 5, you know what I'm saying?
If it's a monopoly?
Because it's a conglomerate, like I was telling you with Alphabet. It's one company that owns all these companies that are individual, so they can get away with it. You know what I'm saying? But price gouging is basically saying we're going to charge more because there's less available, right? That's not price gouging. That's business. If I have low amount.
So what's price gouging in your definition?
There's no. I mean, price gouging is like there's no such thing as price gouging.
There is no such thing.
There's no such thing. If you have a low supply and a high demand, guess what? That's gonna cost a lot of money. Why do Lamborghinis cost so much compared to Ford? Because they make less. A diamond is worth more than a cubic zirconia. Because diamonds are rare. You know what I'm saying? There's less of them in the market. So, and I remember seeing it during the blackout in 93, whatever I think it was. Was it 93? 2003. I think it was 2003. Yeah, 2003. The blackout, the New York City blackout. When you went to the store and you wanted to buy a flashlight.
All of a sudden that flashlight
was $20. Meanwhile, before it was like $5.
Is that price gouging?
So that's what they're saying by price gouging. Now, to me, I'm like, wait, if you got 50 flashlights and nobody else in New York City has a flashlight, everybody's coming to you, I can charge whatever I want. Who wants to pay the most for this? I'll sell it. You know what I'm saying? That's business, baby.
Is it price gouging when I buy 300 Tickle Me Elmos and I know they're gonna sell at 300 times the amount I brought it at?
What do you mean? No, if you're trying to be like an aftermarket seller, saying I'm gonna buy it from whatever Mattel, and I'm gonna hold on to them. I'm gonna sell them for. That's what people do with sneakers.
Yeah.
No, that's not price. That's business.
So all of this is just business.
It's just business, yeah.
And
now if you this is the only thing I would say that I'm against. If one company, let's talk to keep it with food. If one company owns all the chickens in America, and they charge $100 per egg, I'm against that. Right? But only because nobody else can have chickens? It's not the business. There's some kind of bureaucracy that's protecting this company from allowing other people to have chickens, so you can get eggs.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? What is it what's holding it from me getting a chicken myself from another country and having a farm in America and underselling you and making my business bigger?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the government getting involved. Remember I was telling you about the scales that the government kind of pushes their finger? There's something that's protecting this business that's keeping it in monopoly. You know what I mean? So I'm against that. But again, that's not business per se. That's government manipulating the system somehow. Like they do with Monsanto. I don't know if you know Monsanto. What they do. Monsanto basically saying, hey, we're going to genetically modify this corn. And we know the DNA of that corn because we made it. So now when the corn pollinates, that pollen goes over into the air and it goes into this other farmer's field and it pollinates that corn. The other farmer's just doing raw farming. No Monsanto. Monsanto says, hey, I think he's growing my corn. I want to check it. And he checks it and it has their DNA because it blew over from the thing.
That's wild.
He didn't buy it from them. He's like, I have nothing to do with Monsanto.
So he sues them.
And they sue it and they win. But why do they, how are they able to win that case? There's some kind of bureaucracy there that allows them to do that. You know what I'm saying? When it should be, the farmer should be like, no, this is my property. If you drop something over and it lands on my property, guess what that belongs to? That belongs to me. That's mine now.
Yeah.
That's common law. That's just regular, raw, properties, 9/10 of the law.
In the list that you sent in regards to what you've heard from Kamalaharris's... Kamala. Are any of them something that you would stand behind other than the $25,000 down payment for first-time home buyers?
Okay, so then the 1, 2, 3. Okay, provide a tax incentive to home builders who want to build starter homes sold to first-time home buyers. I'm okay with that. You know why? Because you're not using money. You're giving them a deal. Hey, instead of you paying so much taxes to build a house, I'll cut you some, I'll get rid of some of those taxes so you can build your house. And now you sell it. That's your business.
Yeah.
As the government, I'm involved with taxes. I'll cut the taxes.
And a tax credit is not them giving you money. It's them saying you owe us less.
Yeah. No, it doesn't say tax credit. It says incentive.
Oh, okay. I was looking at something else.
Yeah.
Oh, I was looking at the next one. What about the expanding tax incentives that encourages constructions of affordable rental housing?
That's okay with me too. That's the same as the one we just read. Except instead of houses, we're building buildings.
Right.
Now what's going to happen, ready? People are going to be like, oh, you're giving tax incentives to rich people? Right? Because rich people are going to build those houses. Yeah. They're going to sell it.
It ain't us building those houses.
Right? So now the vice versa of that, it's like, hey, she's giving tax incentive to rich people. So they can build houses, they can build their business and to support.
What else is something that you're with? What about the expand income tax credit?
So I'm a little iffy with the tax credit.
The children one?
The children one, yeah.
And what about the non-children one?
Credit for people with low income jobs. See, but that's the thing. Like, the government should have some kind of system to provide for people that are not doing good in life. Right? There should be a welfare program, WIC. There should be WIC.
WIC. There is WIC.
I know, but that should exist, especially in a country like ours. Like, we got no reason not to help people out that are freaking poor. So there's certain programs that I'm like, okay, yeah, that's okay. I'm okay with that, but don't make it so easy that they're like, I'm gonna live like this forever. I'm never gonna try to get out of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you hear this on the vice versa side. You hear people saying, oh, the government gives you just enough to want more from them.
Correct.
But that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
You should be like, I need to get out of this vicious cycle of being poor.
Okay, it should be that, but it should also be that you're educated or like sort of like, okay, you're here now, but this is your way out. We're going to hold you accountable to getting the here out. So,
but I think this is the problem. When you do, let's say you're welfare, and the welfare, you can't make a certain amount of money, otherwise they take it, whatever away from you. The government should be like, all right, you made more than we're allowed to give. Now we're not allowed to give you money anymore. But instead of taking it away right there on the spot, like, now we're going to provide for you for another 6 months and then take it away. You have 6 months to save money and get yourself together.
Or remember the welfare to work or work for to welfare.
We got people like that at my job that I forgot what they're called. We do like community service, and there some of those people there that do that.
Something like that where it's like, okay, we're not going to yank out the support that you've been relying on us, but you have working arms, working legs, you have a basic education.
Build your resume off us.
Build your resume off of us. You'll keep your benefits for the next 6 months. But
man, I'll even make it a year. Like, I don't care. It's just it's just not forever. Give them a lot of time.
But you know what
I'm saying?
No, because I also want to encourage them to do something with that time.
Yeah, but my thing is like, all right, we're gonna cut you off now. There's a time limit. Okay, so if you know you're making whatever some money over this amount, keep pursuing that and make more and more and more money. Save money because we're gonna, and then maybe not take it away completely right away. All right, we're gonna knock off 100 every month until you're down to 0. You know what I'm saying?
So I owed the IRS like a few $1,000s, right?
Yeah. Come get this guy.
Come get him. You know where I'm at.
Come get him. Come get him, Biden.
I tried to apply for.
He hired 8,000 IRS, so they're probably gonna come after you now.
Thank goodness. I applied for some program to get tax relief, right? To see if I qualify.
Optima tax relief.
Whatever it was. It's a 643 some shit. And whatever, I'm talking to the rep and he's like, okay, da 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 da. He's like, he knows everything that I have coming in. So he's like, okay, so you have this amount. You're on unemployment right now, which is due to end. I was like, yeah, it's ending. So does that count as my income? He was like, it doesn't matter because we look at your job histories because you filed with us, so we know what you're capable of doing. So we could surmise how much you should be able to make. I was like, but I don't even have that job yet. Like, I'm looking for it. I'm working.
You're predicting the future here?
They literally did. They were like, you should, based on what you've done before, you should be able to get this job making this amount of money. And I'm like, wow. So automatically I have that.
Can you give me that number so I can get that job? Because I'm dying.
Yeah, that's what I felt like saying because that's what they're saying. They're saying, okay, yeah, but then we have to evaluate because this application takes more, it takes about 2 months. But in those 2 months, we're going to assume that you're making X amount of money. So I was like, okay. So I was like, that's going to be a factor in your decision whether I get approved for forgiveness or whatever the fuck it was called. And he was like, yeah, it's going to play a factor. And I was like, wow. He was like, it's crazy, but, these programs are really for people who owe a lot. Like, the more you owe, the more eligible you'll be. And I'm like, okay, got it.
How do you know what it feels like? How do you know what a lot feels like to me?
Word, right? Like, how do you? Apparently, yeah. So should it be like that? Welfare to work? I was like, listen, you have a GED, you worked in this amount of job, where you got benefits for 6 months, but you're expected to, start subsidizing this help with actual.
I think that Minority Report idea of we're gonna predict the future. I think they gotta get it. That's crazy. You never know what the person's circumstances are. You know what I'm saying? Just because you had a great job in the past doesn't mean you can get it again. Or just because you have a crappy job history doesn't mean you're not going to freaking hit it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you got to give people the opportunity.
I could go from welfare to making a great job, making really, good money compared to where I was. And I don't need the food stamps anymore. I don't need the $50, whatever it is, the rental income supplement, whatever it is. I listening to these politicians talk about all this shit that they're gonna do, it just drives me crazy because I'm like, you have a governing system, and then you have these companies, for-profit companies in this capital system, and like they're mixing up way too much.
Yeah,
and we're getting shitted on, and whether I vote red or blue, I feel like we're just skip to Malou down the same path.
Yeah. And it's kind of like what I was saying with the they're giving tax incentive to people that build buildings, whatever, for a rental, right? Later on down the line, we're going to be complaining about that because now this person's a billionaire that they got those incentives, tax, whatever. So they're saying, oh, you're giving tax incentives to rich people, and in the meantime, instead of collecting as much money as you can from the rich people to provide for the poor, you're giving them tax breaks.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? There's the less government involvement, the better. I think the government just needs to put either restrictions, like just build, certain walls. Like, okay, you can't do this. You can't, if you're going to have a factory that, whatever, makes clothes, you can't dump dye in the river. because it's gonna kill the fish. It's bad for the environment. So we're gonna make a restriction there. You can't do that. What do you got to do with that? Whatever your waste. Well, you got to figure out how to get rid of it in whatever a certain way. And we're gonna check on you every 6 months to make sure. Like I'm okay with stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then when you start negotiating with them and saying, all right, if you do this, if you hire X amount of poor people, then we'll give you a tax incentive. You know what I'm saying? The government's getting too much involved in the business. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because now the business is like, all right, now we have to hire X amount of poor people. What do we got them to do? Whatever, clean toilets. We're not going to give them the good job, obviously. They don't know what they're doing with their lives. If they did, they wouldn't be poor. You know what I'm saying? So how does that help people, really? You give them a job that they're not doing so good, and now they're locked into the system getting minimum wage that the government made. The government told the company how much you could pay them. You can't pay them less than that. Yeah. You can't pay them, whatever. You could pay them more than that, but the company's like, I'm already paying them more than I want to pay them for that kind of job. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to, you have to be so much better than what I want to pay you. You're going to be locked into that minimum wage forever. You know what I mean? Your worth isn't high enough for what I perceive the minimum wage should be.
That's crazy, right? Your worth.
Yeah. Well, if you want to be worth more, you gotta, what's your education? What did you do to help to improve
what's
yourself?
Your skill set?
Yeah, and
what can you do?
But that's the way the market should be. What can you provide for me? If you can't provide, I can't hire you. Maybe you could get another job somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? I think about what I used to do. I used to sweep in the school, right? Then I worked doing in the other church, doing this thing, right? Cleaning. I worked in the hospital. What I did? Cleaning. I did an upgrade, right? And now what I do? I clean for the city now. Right? I worked my way up the ladder, bro.
Oh my god!
You see what I'm saying? But like I used my previous to be like, hey, I did the XYZ to go to whatever the next level of sweeping the floor is. You know what I mean?
What's the upgrade?
I gotta sweep? I'm good at sweeping floors. What's the next level of getting paid more? What can I do?
Am I making the floors? Yeah. Am I making the broom?
And I made it to the point I don't gotta sweep floors anymore. I just pick up the bags.
The final product.
But okay, so now you see how I started with cleaning. Like there's a way out. But if you're gonna work 8 years cleaning toilets, bro, like are you really trying to improve yourself? You know what I mean? Like you gotta work your way up the system. That's the market.
And just like the business owners want to make more money, you want to make more money.
Yeah. They're more ambitious than you. They're willing to do things and take risks that you're not willing to take.
Jesus Christ.
And maybe some people started rich and that's how they got the business. And a lot of people just started like me and you. Like, I got to start a business. I got to do this. And they jump for it. Some people just don't jump for it. They just like,
whatever.
I'm comfortable here. I'm comfortable getting welfare and working this job minimum wage. And I don't want to make too much money because then they'll take my welfare. I'm comfortable. And then what happens? They have kids that are there and they buy this booty hole freaking lipstick. You know what I'm saying? And they raise into, because obviously the cheap environments are going to be where there's most crime and most, you know what I'm saying? And then people, instead of trying to get a better apartment, what they do? Oh, my grandmother passes away. I'm on the lease, so I'm going to get this apartment. We're going to live here for the next 50 years.
What's crazy about this product is that it gives me the it gives me that. Remember, like the cheap packaging from like Chinatown.
Oh yeah. Like the real thin cardboard,
the really thin plastic, and like you get a paper cut. It's so thin.
Look that's so funny. Look at this. Every time we see sexual red, it's against my will. Oh look, see, bring back shame.
Bring back shame.
Jesus Christ, what else do people wrote here? Let's see. These names are actually diabolical. Promoting STD is not sexy, cute, or funny. See, so people know. I hear everyone who made her famous. We thought they'd be flying cars by now. Instead, we got booty hole lipstick. Jesus Christ. I'm logging off. Lord, please protect our youth from this. You see what I'm saying? So people understand.
Yeah, but
are they willing to, I think it comes out just so, you know what I mean? Look, you can't keep your kids safe. Or from everything.
Right.
But at least you could be like, look, you're going to see this dumb crap. I want you to take a second and think about it.
Being loud and rowdy and like, being that, whatever that is that I just described. Ratchet, being that guy.
Crashing out, they call it.
Yeah. 21, 22 for us.
Yeah. That's it.
23.
Yeah. But even,
hold up. Yeah. Now I'm seeing that shit for 30-year-olds.
Oh, yeah. They're too old, yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. But like even thinking back to when I was 20, I'm like, damn, if I had somebody to mentor me and talk to me, I probably would have stopped doing that.
Probably, but
because I didn't think about no future back then. I was living for the day.
Yeah, 24 hours.
That's
What's
it.
Today?
What's my money? I want to.
What we doing
meet
today?
These girls and drink this freaking whatever and smoke this. That's it. There was no future. There's no what business am I gonna? What job am I gonna? None of that. It was just that was it. I was happy. I would have been still working in Bessel if they didn't close down.
But that's the 30-year-olds now.
Yeah.
It's like being a teenager is up until you're 27. And then all of a sudden, you know what I mean, you're out of the house at 30.
Yeah.
And you're drinking and you're chilling and
it
you're
sucks
partying
because
and
it's very difficult because of everything so expensive to get out rather than it used to be. It used to be cheaper to leave the house and get an apartment and whatever. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? It's harder for you. Yeah, okay. You missed it. You know how many times I go to, things that they did in my job 20 years ago, like, oh man, you should have seen 20 years ago we got away with XYZ. And I'm like, am I going to think back and be like, oh man, I wish it was still like that? I'm just going to be like, all right, this is what I got to work with now.
This is what I got.
I got this now. I got to
How
work
do I
with
make
this
it
now.
happen?
Yeah. So I think people, when you turn 18, when you turn 18, you should really think about, how am I going to get out of this house and get my own house? You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to stick around here till I'm 30 years old in my parents' house. And, most parents are like, well, Bendito, I'm not going to kick him out. He's still figuring it out. He's still struggling. Bro, you got to get out the house as fast as you can. You know what I'm saying? Obviously not in a dumb way, not in welfare. But come on, get a job, work your way up the ladder. Take your time, 20, 21. After a certain age, like, bro, enough is enough, bro.
Circling back to
25-year-olds living at home in a room. That's what you want to. You're gonna get a girlfriend. You're gonna bring her to your parents' room, to a room in your parents' house. Think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Focus on those next 5
Come
years.
on, bro. Don't you don't like girls? Some people don't. I'm sorry.
That would be him. Circling back to Kamalaharris, I'm glad that you pointed out some of because that's what I've been doing lately. I've started just going on the other side's profile as far as.
Jesus Christ, I can't look at this girl's butt anymore. I don't even want to see her face. Just leave it on this.
I've been going to the other side media. What does it feel like if I was a Democrat and I'm going to that side media? And it's hard. It's interesting because it's harder to find the Trump side, like their channels.
That's interesting. I spend more time, I think, on left-wing media than I do right-leaning media.
So I'm trying to go to the other side
because there's so much more left-leaning media.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think somebody was saying that for Hillary's campaign, the news media donated 90% of the news media donated to Hillary.
But they probably gave more time to Trump.
Probably gave more time, but donated more to her.
And the time was more expensive.
It ended up being way more valuable. They didn't realize it. They thought they were doing a service to her. It totally backfired on their asses, which is perfect. The irony of that.
I'm with her.
But I haven't heard much of her policies. There is one thing that I.
Well, this is the first time she did it.
So okay,
that's why we're talking
thanks.
about it. Yeah.
Good looking. Save me a speech. No, I'll probably go into it. The vibe that I get from her is that she doesn't really want it. She's scared of it.
Yeah.
Hold on, not because she's a female, not because of any of that shit. I don't give a fuck about that. But she generally does seem afraid of the position, and the reason why I get that is because if it's true that Joe Biden is not all up there, and you could invoke the 25th Amendment,
yeah,
right? That he's unfit, call some niggas, have a hearing, whatever the fuck the process is. Like, if I knew I had that in the bag,
Kamala, you saying?
Kamala,
yeah,
I got this in the bag. Like, I could be the president right now. He's not fit. I would be doing a service to my country by invoking this rule and getting him removed. The fate of our country is relying on someone who can't function in the job.
She will never, because then everything she's saying that she would do, her feet will be on the fire. Like, okay, do it. You're the president now. Do it. She's not gonna be able to do it. This is not a stroke of a pen. Half these things there's bureaucracy involved. You got to pass laws. You got to do this.
Besides what she's claiming she's gonna do, why isn't she grabbing the mic? If she knows that Biden isn't, and she could become the first female on paper, the first female president, bro, I would go for it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
then why not?
I think there's not enough time. She's like, I have nothing to campaign on. They're gonna hold my feet to the fire.
I'm not saying campaigning. See, I'm asking you this question. We know if it's true that Biden is not mentally fit to hold the president, the office of president, whatever. If I know that and I'm Kamala, why am I not, Biden?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's not enough time. She doesn't want to be president for 3 months. She wants to be president for the next 4 years.
Right.
So she has to campaign. And if for her to campaign and say, hey, I want to give everybody child tax credit, then people are going to be like, well, you're president right now. Do it now. I mean, as vice president, she could probably do it now. Why doesn't she do it now?
Yeah,
you know
that's a weak argument.
But no, what I'm saying is that she can't say, I'm going to do this. Because they're going to be like, do it now. And she's not going to be able to do that now.
Well, I mean, no, because I would say that's when I'm actually right now I am taking over the office.
Yeah, but she can start the process now.
I'm cleaning the house right now. But vote for me, and you'll get 4 years of real change.
I think it comes down to she people are going to be like, we don't have to wait till January.
I don't know.
We can start on this process right now. At least put the paperwork in. What are you waiting for? If you put the paperwork in now, the only thing you're going to do is force Trump to be like, I'm going to take away the paperwork. Imagine the look of that. She puts in $3,000 tax credit for children, and Trump comes along and goes, nah, get rid of that. It's going to look bad for him. You know what I'm saying? So it would benefit her to do it, honestly. She could put all these things in there, and if Trump wins, he takes them away. It just makes him look like a bad guy.
Later on, for 4 years later.
Yeah. But
I just don't get the...
I mean, maybe she doesn't want to soil his legacy.
I mean, she was the least person picked from her party.
Oh, yeah. Nobody liked her. Yeah.
And now you're the
front runner. Yeah, everybody loves you now.
It's like being pushed to the front of the stage.
Yeah.
That's the vibe she gives me.
So this is what I mean.
They're doing that. They're like, she's like...
And people, like I was saying before with the ideologies, they're locked into this ideology. They're like, put anybody up there and they're the best. Whoever it is, it doesn't matter who it is. They're the best. Nobody can be better than whoever they put up there.
Yeah.
Insert name here. Like, we don't care. And we believe it. That she's the best. Meanwhile, 4 years ago, nobody wanted to hear from her. What happened between now and then? What did she do? We can't even name a thing she did. And she was in charge of something. And she didn't do it.
She was in charge of the border.
She was in charge of the border. And she did nothing. And look at the border situation now.
Is it really that scary if Trump wins?
I don't think it's scary if he wins. I think it's scary if you... I mean, honestly, I think either one of them wins. I'm not going to be ecstatic. But I'm more scared of her. Trump will allow more people to be free about stuff. She won't. And that's what it always comes down to. These two options. Either you get freedom or you get safety. You can't have both. There's a middle ground where you can find it. But if you want safety, we got to take away some freedoms. You don't want nobody to shoot you, we got to take away your guns. You want to be free to have guns? Well, you might get shot sometimes. People might die. So there may be a middle ground. We could kind of regulate it. Like, all right, people with, violent felonies or mental illness.
That's the biggest issue, freedom and safety.
I think that's it. I think that's what it all comes down to, freedom and safety.
Freedom and safety.
Yeah. That's all people care about. Can I do something? Are you going to stop me? Or are you going to arrest me? Are you going to take away my freedom? And am I going to be safe? Am my family going to be safe? Right?
That's a good one.
Because finances don't matter because we're going to give you welfare.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's, whatever.
Finances in the case.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to take away my freedom, I can't figure that out. That's you. That's the government doing that on me. You know what I'm saying? And as the government, I think there's very little that you should be in charge of. And one of the biggest things that you should be in charge of is safety. Keeping your citizens safe.
That's the whole job.
That's a job.
That's the whole.
So it's either, so these two are the biggest issues in my, my humble opinion. So if Trump is saying, I'm going to give you more freedoms, but it might be a little dangerous sometimes. I'd rather take that than saying, you're going to be super safe, but we got to take away some of your freedoms.
Yeah.
You can't say things that you want to say. You can't do things.
Can't read certain things.
You can't read certain things. We got to take away the freedom of you putting your kid in whatever school they want and what we're going to teach them.
And what we teach them.
I'm sorry, but I'd rather have the freedom to put my kid where I want and go to my school board and say, I don't want those books. I seen what they have in them. I don't want them in my school.
I don't know. How is it that people are not getting this message, and how is it that she's leading in the polls? I don't believe polls. No one does.
It's the thin mentality.
It's this paper thin.
That's it. They put that in. They took out the COVID out their brain,
and
then they put the
them
kamalaharris, and they're like, oh, okay, now all right, we're gonna do kamalaharris this time. You know what I'm saying? And monkeypox is coming. I don't know if you heard about that.
I heard.
So
I don't even know what that shit is.
The next lockdown is coming. They don't even call it monkeypox because it's racist, which is wild, nigga. Think about what that means, bro. Think about what they're admitting when they say we can't call it monkeypox because it's racist.
Against who?
The monkeys.
How about? Yo.